Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. Women in tech. Women who code. Girls coding. This video is going to refute everything you have ever heard about women in technology. There is this push to get you to believe that technology and women have not been together before, and now there is a push to get them together, right? To get women into technology, to get women into coding. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. I'm going to take two approaches. I'm going to discuss two separate but very connected issues as far as technology is concerned. That is, women actually working in the industry of coding and women and girls actually playing video games. You will be shocked to know, if you don't know history at all, that women actually were the coders originally when the computer was first coming out, and in the 60s and so. Women were the coders, and it seemed like a very not very unbelievable feat, because women were the secretaries, and so sitting down at a desk doing this motion seemed congruent with whatever had gone on before, right? Or what was the norm of the day. So women were coders back in the day. It was nothing to have a room full of women coding. Also, girls playing video games. When the video games first started coming out, it was nothing for girls to be playing video games. Absolutely nothing. And in fact, originally, they marketed video games to boys and girls. And girls played video games just as much as boys played video games. So what happened? What changed? What went wrong? Why don't we have, 5 billion NASA employees being women? What happened? Well, of course, you can imagine what happened when the women's groups started their movement in the 70s. I believe that's second wave feminism. Now, second wave feminism is peaked by their push for women to be equal to men. And what it actually did was destroy the very equality of women to men. Because you still had, remember, you still had a lot of women, we're talking 60s and 70s. You still had a lot of women at home doing the housework, raising the kids. But you also had the civil rights movement going along, and the second wave feminism got women to be declared a minority along with black people. You talk about adding insult to injury. So white women, who are the majority in the country, by any definition, white women are the majority in the country. White women outnumber white men. So how on earth are you going to get declared white women the absolute majority in the country to be a minority, and to have all of the things, all of the supposed reparations that the black people were striving for, and the equality that black people were actually striving for, to change the entire ideology of the country towards black people, and instead hand it over to white women. So white, high class, and middle and upper class, upper middle class white women got themselves declared a minority. And the decline of women in working in technology, I mean, literally just fell off of a cliff. Right? So where you had a warehouse of women coding and making all sorts of programs and what have you, now you have white women who, along with the ideology that a woman is equal to man in all aspects, including dating, especially dating, that white women could sit home, do nothing, and get the reparations that were owed to black people, right? And please don't say, oh, that was 200 years ago. No. So sorry to inform you, but black people, even in the 60s and 70s, were still giving up their labor for free. And very quite often, black people would be bamboozled out of their labor. They would be bamboozled, and these unions that now pretend that they're pro-black. The unions were very, very much against black people working. Period. Not just for the union. They didn't want black people working at all. So you had a created degeneracy in the black community who was the workers, the quintessential, the epitome of hard workers in the country. You had whole industries dominated by black men who that was a black man's job. We're talking plumber, a carpenter, electrician, any sort of manual labor. Why? Because black men were in a subservient role to everybody else. So the white man was, and this is why there was a huge gap between the white and black community. The wealth gap existed because black people, black men were into, or not into, but the mass percentage of the population of the black community, namely black men. Remember, black women who are still at home taking care of the kids just like white women. The massive amounts of black men were into manual labor and blue-collar work. So there was a wealth gap because the white population had a lot of business owners and financiers and so forth and so on. So where there was tremendous amounts of wealth in that, there wasn't tremendous amounts of wealth in the black community because we didn't have those types of any. Today we do have those types in the black community. Well, the unions, of course, did not want black men working at all. and they finally got their way, because to me, today the wealth gap between white and black is worse. Now, when the white woman got herself declared to be a minority, she then got all of the reparations that was owed to the black people. So all of the, we're talking about big, huge projects that black people were used for and not paid for. We're talking 70s. We're not talking about 1800s, people. So and the reality, the lack of education that a lot of you all have as to what has gone on in this country. What is it, 50 years ago? 60 years ago? The lack of knowledge that you have is staggering, is astounding. And the white woman got herself declared a minority to receive all of that money. So when they talk about affirmative action is for black people, no, 99% of all of the recipients who are actually under affirmative action are white women. Not Asian women, not Latino women, not black women, not black men. White women. And we're talking about everything. Affirmative action to get into school. Affirmative action to get a job. Affirmative action to receive benefits. Anything affirmative action. 99% action. And when in California, when they finally let the cat out the bag and wanted people to vote on rescinding affirmative action, and when they tried to say, and the people who were pro-affirmative action were trying to couch it as in, affirmative action is helping all of those poor black people in South Central. I'm making up locations. I have no idea what South Central is. The people who were actually for getting rid of affirmative action finally came out and said, white women are 99% of the recipients of affirmative action. What did that do to the population of women who were in technology? It completely removed them. The warehouses of women coding, gone. The businesses that were opening with women being in the technology, gone. Gone, gone, gone. So women who code, girls coding, women code, women in tech, women in technology, decline, decline, decline. Now, on the other side, the girls who were playing the video games, when they decided that they are going to split up the market and market to girls and market to boys instead of both together, the boys actually took up. Why? Because the actual toys for boys, I don't know if you know this, are very limited. It's cowboys and Indians and video games. And anything that involves cowboys and Indians or sports is about all the only choice that boys have. The girls have also doll houses, My Little Pony, all the Rainbow Bright, and girls have just choice after choice after choice after choice, and they switch the colors from pink and blue to blue and pink for the girls versus the boys, and so then the little girls now we're going. Yeah, this is all a part of that. Did you know that? So girls have all of these choices, and only one of the choice was video games. So when the video game market tried to market to girls, the video games directed towards girls for video games, they met with not much success because girls have all of these choices. Girls don't have sports in their choices because girls don't need sports. Not because they're not interested, because they don't need it. They have thousands of other choices of what a girl can play with. Boys have very limited. Very limited. So the video game market was very successful marketing to boys. So then they heavily marketed to boys because they were successful. They were successful. Anything that in any sort of industry that's directed at men, you will find that the choices are always super limited. You can wear a shirt, you can wear pants. That's it. Women fashion go anywhere from wearing a tent all the way down to a bikini, right? and everything is a-okay if a woman says it's a-okay, right? They can march down the street protesting wearing a tent or a bikini. Why? Because women need choices. That's a part of the aspect of being a woman. They need choice. They have to have options. Men don't have options. So when the women vacated coding, when the women stopped being programmers, guess who took over? Men. So men went into technology. Men went into coding. Men. It was women before. Then it became men. Now, what is it? 50 years later, now all of a sudden, it's a problem that women left coding. Well, now women have so many options. It's not a question of we need women we don't need women in coding. Women have options, and women have made their choices. And when you get down to it, here's what actually happens. Women will get an education in technology. Women will get an education in coding. They will then proceed to go into technology or coding or science. This applies across the board. Within 5 years, a staggering something like 70% quit, never to return. So this push to get women into technology really should fall on deaf ears, because at the end of the day, you as a company, you as a business owner, you're the one who are going to have to suffer. Because the cost of training a brand new employee is a staggering amount. But a lot of people don't understand this. Just imagine when you're teaching a person at McDonald's, that costs about $30,000 to train a McDonald's worker. Are you going to get $30,000 out of a McDonald's work? More often than not, no. Imagine how much more it costs to train on the job a female coder, a female technologist. And what happens? 5 years, she's going to walk off the job, never to return to the entire industry again. Now that is happening all over the world. Happens in Japan, happens in China, happens in Europe. And Japan, when they try to discourage women from getting into anything, because in Japan they still have the traditional view that when a woman gets good and ready and she finds her mate, they get married, they have children, that's it. It's over. We're talking doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, coder, what have you. She's gone, she goes home, and that's it. It's over. Even the most progressive of them who want to return to work say, I will return to work, but it's only going to be part-time. So now you have trained this woman, and even in the best scenario of her returning to work, she's going to only be working part-time. So now you're out $100,000, $250,000, or an actual doctor who's gone through come out of school, has gone through their training period. Why is this escaping my brain right now? Who's gone through their internship? What do you call it? tell me in the comment section. Who's gone through that period, and then gone to specialization, and then 5 to 10 years later completely quits being a doctor. So now the hospital is left holding the bag of, we spent $1 million training this woman in medicine to be a doctor. We spent $1 million to train this woman to be a part of our robotics team. And she's gone. History. And now you can't sue her because there was no contract that said I have to work until, because you can't do that, right? That's not even a contract that you can make anybody sign, unless it's for the military, I believe, right? And that's about it, right? So a company can't make you sign a thing that says, we're going to spend $1 million on you and train you on the job. We want you to stay for at least 15 years. Can't be done. And then they can't, and now these days they can't even bring it up. That's women in coding. That's girls coding. That's women in technology. That's women who code. You were there. You were already there. You were the ones. The first, what was it? The first spaceship was women. Women put the ship into orbit or whatever. I didn't actually see the movie. Leave me a comment if you saw the movie. You were there. You already had it. And girls were already playing video games. Girls simply have many, many options. Thank you all for watching. Please donate to the channel at paypal.me/Shakaama or patreon.com/Shakaama. Thank you all for watching.